A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is a prequel series set in Westeros 90 years before the Game of Thrones series and 80 years after the events of House of the Dragon. Careful for spoilers ahead. So during this time, we still have plenty of Targaryens, just no dragons. So far we have 3 written books, The Hedge Knight, The Sworn Sword, and The Mystery Knight, and he also has these in the graphic novel version as well. I'll be using images directly from there in this video. So it's safe to assume that we're going to be getting at least 3 seasons for this series. The idea is that we get the show in between House of the Dragon filming sessions so that we don't go a year without Westeros content. But if HBO knows that this is what we want to see, wouldn't it just make sense to invest into 10 episode seasons on House of the Dragon? I mean, this is like their way of telling you, please, bro, please don't unsubscribe, bro, please, here's some more content. But anyway, these are basically a set of short stories known as the Tales of Dunk and Egg, written from the point of view of a knight and his squire, going on an adventure throughout Westeros, showing what it was like to travel from kingdom to kingdom, enlisting their services for coin and shelter to any lord who would have them. This story follows a hedge knight from Flea Bottom named Dunk, and his squire, Egg, which is short for Aegon, who eventually becomes Aegon V, known as Aegon the Unlikely, due to the fact that he was the 4th son of a 4th son. So pretty much a lot of things had to go wrong for this to happen. In January of this year, we got a blog post from George R. R. Martin where he mentioned that once he finishes The Winds of Winter, he'll continue working on Dunk and Egg. Some confirmed stories include the Sellsword, where Dunk and Egg travel east and work with the Free Company as mercenaries, as well as the She-Wolves of Winterfell, where Dunk and Egg end up in the north and probably come across a young old man. But God knows when we'll actually get these stories though, because our author is also a TV producer. He has to finish The Winds of Winter, he has to finish Fire and Blood 2, and he works part-time at the Genome Factory. So we'll see about that. Before we dive right into the story, I want to explain the geopolitical climate of the realm during this time period. The current ruler is King Daeron II, also known as Daeron the Good. He is known for finally bringing Dorne into the fold, a task that no king has been able to do since Aegon the Conqueror stepped foot on Westeros. And he did it by marriage rather than by fire and blood. Although he managed to conquer Dorne through diplomatic means, the realm was still not pleased, and the seeds of rebellion from his father's reign still haunted him. Daeron's father was Aegon IV, also known as Aegon the Unworthy, son of Viserys II, which is Rhaenyra and Daemon's youngest son. Aegon the Unworthy was the originator of the phrase demon time. He was a textbook hedonist. He just wanted to drink and fuck. He was so down bad that he gave Lord Butterwell a dragon's egg so his 3 daughters could run a train on him. He was the founding father of freak-offs. He had dozens of bastards and 2 trueborn children with, of course, his sister, Daenerys Targaryen. She was known for being pious, gentle, and frail, all of the things that Aegon disliked. Throughout his reign, he was heard to say that he loved 9 women, and none of them were his sister. Crazy how that works, right? Aegon also has a brother named Aemon, known as Aemon the Dragon Knight, one of the most famous members of the Kingsguard. Aegon was jealous and hated all the attention that Aemon got, and he also hated his sister Daenerys, so he spread a rumor that Daeron was actually their child and not his, questioning his legitimacy and claim to the throne. Daeron and Daenerys were both wedded to the Martells as part of the unification of the Seven Kingdoms. This is the same Daenerys that Quentyn Martell claims his Targaryen lineage from, and that was enough for him to attempt to claim one of Dany's dragons. I mean, we know how that turned out. But aside from his trueborn children, he sired 4 great bastards. Daemon Waters by Daena Targaryen, she was the eldest daughter of King Aegon III, Rhaenyra's first son with Daemon. Brynden Rivers, who later becomes Bloodraven, and his mother was Belissa Blackwood. We're going to be getting to see the 3-eyed raven in action during his prime. Aegor Rivers, known as Bittersteel, which of course he had with a Bracken because why not contribute to that blood feud even more, and he was the founder of the Golden Company in Essos. And Shaer Seastar, who was sired by a woman from a Valyrian noble family of Lys. There are theories alluding to the fact that she could be Quaithe from the main series. I'll do a deep dive on all these important characters in my Blackfire Rebellion video. This is all to say that Aegon IV was slinging dick throughout the 7 Kingdoms. He was the Genghis Khan of his time. He appointed his small council members based on how bad he wanted to pipe their daughters. He never outright disowned his son, but people thought Daemon was the all-around better man for the job, and Daeron allowed too much Dornish influence in the realm. Daeron was the heir, but Daemon was King Aegon's favorite. He knighted him at just 12 years old, making him the youngest knight of his time. And he gave him one of the ancestral Valyrian steel swords of House Targaryen, Blackfire, the true symbol of a Targaryen king, the sword of the conqueror. From then on, he went from Daemon Waters to Daemon Blackfire, and was known throughout the realm as the king who bore the sword. Ultimately, Aegon the Unworthy was so morbidly obese he couldn't get out of bed. He died rotting, but not before dropping one final bomb. He legitimized all of his bastards. His last decree before his death laid the seeds of war for 5 generations to come, known as the Blackfire Rebellion. Now we can go back to the present timeline. King Daeron has 4 kids with Miriam Martell. Baelor, known as Baelor Breakspear, he is also the current hand of the king. He is well respected and loved. He just didn't have the typical Targaryen purple eyes, silver hair. He looked more Dornish than Targaryen. Ares, who was into spells and prophecy. And then there's Rhaegal, and he was kind of like the tweaker of the family, which I mean, yeah, I could see why they would say that. And then there's Maekar, and he had a more traditional look of your typical Targaryen, though he was more stern and harsh. Baelor has 1 son named Valar, and Maekar has 4 sons. Daeron Targaryen the Drunken, Aerion known as Brightflame, he's a cruel prince and a dickhead, he's the main antagonist this season. Aemon Targaryen, known as Maester Aemon from the Game of Thrones series, and Aegon, which is Egg.
That laugh. Egg. Egg laughed like that. One of the first things I remember.
His little brother, Aegon, he became king.
I know there are a lot of family members, so I've strategically marked each character that will be present this season based on what emoji I feel that they personify, which is the best way to capture one's true essence. So while all of this is going on in the background, we have Dunk, who is a poor orphan boy from Flea Bottom who came across a knight named Sir Arlen of Pennytree. Sir Arlen found him chasing pigs and took him in as his squire. The story starts with Dunk digging a grave for Sir Arlen, the man who taught him what it meant to be a true knight. He feels lost without him and starts wondering if maybe he should go squire for another hedge knight, or go to King's Landing and join the City Watch. But ultimately, he decides he's going to be a knight and enlists in the tournament at Ashford. Although, it's implied that Dunk was never knighted. Sir Arlen was already dead and he needed a path, so the life of a hedge knight was the only life he knew. It's a lie that he would have to live with. I mean, after all, a ceremony isn't what makes a man a true knight. On his way there, he stops by an inn and finds a little bald kid named Egg, and he mistakes him for a stable boy. They have some funny banter, and Egg begs him to be a squire. Dunk refuses at first, but Egg just follows him around anyway until he accepts. When they arrive at Ashford, they see tents everywhere. It's filled with feasting, jousting, and entertainment. The most famous knights and lords all gather to participate in the festivities. Members from houses Lannister, Baratheon, Targaryen, Tyrell, and even the Great Fossaways make an appearance. While he's wandering the 20 grounds, he stumbles upon a woman named Tanzel, who is running a puppet show. She's doing a showing of a knight slaying a dragon. Dunk starts developing a crush on her. He tells her his name is Sir Duncan the Tall, and she, funny enough, was Tanzel too tall. But for him, she was just right. He commissions Tanzel to paint his sigil on the shield, and he decides to go with an elm tree with a shooting star in the background since he saw one the other night. This looks a lot like a shield that Brienne used to see in her father's armory when she was younger, and George R. R. Martin has confirmed that she is descended from his line. So being a true knight runs in her blood. Later that same night, while Tanzel is performing, Aerion sees this and takes it as a slight because he considers himself to be a dragon. To him, this is considered high treason, and he starts breaking her fingers one by one. Egg, witnessing everything, quickly looks for Dunk so he can save her, and without hesitation, he just rushes Aerion and rocks him, and he kicks him too. By this point, the guards start stepping in, and Aerion says he's gonna have him killed right there. But not before Egg reveals himself as Prince Aegon Targaryen. He saves Dunk and apologizes for lying to him. He tells Dunk that he was supposed to squire for Daeron at this tournament, but Daeron just wanted to get wasted, so he shaved Egg's head so that nobody would recognize him. Daeron has common brown hair, so he didn't have to worry about that. Baelor tells Dunk he must be punished for striking a royal prince, and he tells him that he has the right to a trial by combat. But Aerion said, fuck all that, let's do a trial of 7, which is basically a 7-on-7 royal rumble. Dunk doesn't know anyone here. How on earth is he going to get enough knights to back him? Aerion has his Kingsguard fight for him, along with his brother Daeron and his father Maekar. Luckily, Dunk and Egg made friends with the Fossaways, and Sir Stefan says he'll fight for him, and he's going to speak to houses Baratheon, Lannister, and Tyrell to back him. But the only problem is, nobody knows who he is. He's the guy that's always making apple jokes towards his younger cousin and squire, Raymond, saying he's not ripe yet, that his skin isn't on the line, and that they're both apples from the same tree. They have so many apple jokes, I'm sure George had a field day writing these. Daeron visits Dunk before the trial and apologizes for condemning him. He needed to make up an excuse as to how he lost Egg, and he wasn't about to tell his father that he just wanted to get wasted. He also tells Dunk that he saw him in a dream, where he was next to a dead dragon. He emphasizes that his dreams aren't like regular dreams. His actually come true. He has the Targaryen prophetic dream gene. The only reason Dunk is able to get anybody on his side is because of Egg. He gathers a few knights that dislike Aerion, and Egg speaks with Lionel Baratheon, known as the Laughing Storm. They call him that because he just laughs before beating the shit out of you. He's the ancestor of the greatest king Westeros has ever seen, Bobby B. Lionel's reason for joining was simply because there hasn't been a trial of 7 in the last 100 years, and he wasn't about to miss out on this historical event. Right before the trial begins, 5 of the men gather. They're just missing Sir Stefan and whoever he brings. But turns out he betrays Dunk and joins Aerion's side instead. His cousin Raymond is furious and refuses to be his squire. Lionel Baratheon knights him on the spot so that he can join Dunk's cause and fight his cousin. He immediately changes his sigil to a green apple because he'd rather be a Granny Smith apple than a red apple that's rotten to its core. That was such a boss move that whenever anyone in the community mentions Team Green, I automatically assume they're talking about the Fossaway green apples, because surely no one in their right mind would be referring to Team Green from House of the Dragon.
Actually, Aegon II was Viserys' first son, and Rhaenyra attempted to put a bastard on the throne. Well, Alicent's children are trueborn.
Listen, we don't want to hear it. This is a Team Black propaganda channel. But anyway, Dunk needs one more night or he'll be found guilty. He starts to petition the crowd and asks if there are no true knights. Then, Prince Baelor himself rides in using his son's armor and fights on Dunk's side. Everyone is outraged, but he believes that Dunk upheld the values of a true knight and he believes in his just cause. From there, the trial of 7 begins, and 14 men on horses clash. At first, it looks like Aerion has the advantage, but as soon as Dunk got him on the ground, it was game over. Everyone is relieved that the trial is finally over, and for a second, it seems as though justice has prevailed. Dunk even mentions that Daeron's dream was wrong because Aerion didn't die. Except, when they go to remove Prince Baelor's helmet, part of his skull was still attached to it, and he falls over and dies. It was his own brother Maekar's mace that killed him. The dead dragon in the prophecy wasn't about Aerion, but actually Prince Baelor. Classic Targaryen prophecy right there. And just like that, the trial of 7 changed the course of history. It started a series of events no one could have possibly predicted. After the trial, Maekar approaches Dunk and tells him that Aerion has been exiled to Lys. They also bond over the fact that they both feel responsible for Prince Baelor's death. The Hand of the King, and heir to the throne, died defending a hedge knight. He would have been a great king. He tells Dunk that Egg will only squire for him, so he offers him a position as a knight in his household to train Egg. Dunk accepts. However, it has to be on the condition that he takes him on the road with him rather than training him in a castle. Maekar was reluctant at first, but ultimately he agrees. And with that, the tales of Dunk and Egg truly begin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be covering weekly episode reviews once the series airs on HBO. There's a rumor floating around that the show might drop sometime in June, but personally I think I'm expecting a fall release. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below.